I got a lot to say, trust me, a lot, and we will get there when we get to the Bills game. But for now, I guess the one good thing I can say, at least that I feel being a fan of the Bills, is that as far as I'm concerned, there's no controversy coming out of yesterday's game. There's nothing for us to sit on going into the offseason to feel like we were cheated. Like, we got beat. Again. Congrats to Kansas City. You guys know how to win when it matters. I wish you would teach us how to do that, but we'll talk more about that when we get there. Anyway, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to my NFL Divisional Round reactions. Now, I understand this video could be shorter considering there was only 4 games, but I will do my best to give you guys the best rundowns possible. Real quick before we start the video, don't forget to use code WyattzWorld on G Fuel or Prize Picks, where you can save yourself a discount on any G Fuel products or match up to $100 of your first deposit. But that's all I got. Let's get into me being sad. Alright, so starting off, we had the Ravens destroying the Texans. And I mean destroyed them. If the Texans did not get a punt return touchdown, they wouldn't have scored more than 3 points all game. I really just gotta hand it to Baltimore in that defense, dude. Their defense looks absolutely miserable to go against. Every single time they hit a player, it's like a car crash. They stop them dead in their tracks. And it's also kind of relieving, I guess, from a Buffalo fan that we don't have to worry about going against that because I'm not sure what you would need to do to get around it. Looking at the player stats at Houston first, CJ Stroud was 19 for 33, 175 yards, and didn't have a touchdown, and also didn't have a pick. Running, as you can see, was led by Devin Singletary, who had 9 carries for 22 yards. They couldn't go anywhere. And the dominant and explosive receiving core that we've come to know and love was topped off at 68 yards by Nico Collins. They were locked down. Now, defensively, they did get to Lamar Jackson a few times. They didn't pick him off, but I saw a few sacks. A few of them were actually pretty far behind the line, too, because Lamar was trying to scramble. So I can compliment them on that, and their secondary actually didn't do all that bad either. However, their run defense in the red zone when it came to stopping Lamar might have been the worst I have actually ever seen. Looking at Baltimore now, Lamar Jackson, like I said, their secondary did limit him. He only had 152 yards through the air, but he did have 2 passing touchdowns. Now, on the ground, that's a little bit of a different story. Lamar had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Justice Hill had 66 yards, and Gus Edwards had 40. Also, that little bug you see down there is Delvin Cook. He even had 23 yards. Scoring receivers were Nelson Aguilar and Isaiah Likely, who had a tremendous Moss catch. And then, shockingly, if you actually look at Baltimore defensively, they didn't sack CJ, they didn't pick him off, but I also feel like they only allowed maybe 3 first downs the whole game. They were clocking everybody. And Tuck kicked 10 points too, but that's not a shocker to anybody. Good game, Baltimore, and good luck, KC. Now moving on, we got the Packers losing to the 49ers barely. This is a game that I didn't watch a ton of, especially at the beginning because it was so boring. But then at the second half, the script really started to heat up. First off, I gotta make a comment on Jordan Love's game-ending interception. I've watched that clip like 6 times. I guarantee you he will never ever make that mistake again. That was simply a young player trying to do too much. And that's not me taking an insult at him. He's gonna look at that and go, okay, I don't need to be a hero in that situation. I could have given us another chance. I love him. I think he's a fantastic quarterback, but anybody dogging on him thinking that he is just shit because of that, well, then I'll tell you what, every single great quarterback in the league has a game-ending interception very similar to something like that. Anyway, looking at Green Bay's players first, J Love went 21 for 34, 194, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Aaron Jones lit it up on the ground, 18 carries for 108 yards. And receiving was once again led by Romeo Doubs, who had 4 for 83, while Jaden Reed had 4 for 35, and Bo Melton and Tucker Kraft had the touchdowns. Now, defensively, not a ton happened outside of tackles. They did split a sack between Kenny Clark and Preston Smith. However, limiting the 49ers to 24 points is an honorable token in itself. Unfortunately, we do have to highlight Anders Carlson, though, on missing an extremely important kick, and that won't be the last time we talk about a kicker missing an extremely important kick this video. Looking at the Niners now, Sturdy Purdy wasn't so sturdy this game, only 23 for 39, 252, and 1 touchdown, although he is getting a little bit too much criticism for this game. Rushing was dominated by CMC, who had 17 carries for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has had a touchdown, I think, in every playoff game he's ever played in, which is a crazy stat. And receiving was oddly headlined by George Kittle, who had 4 for 81 and a touchdown, while the receivers, outside of Juwan Jennings, were basically not there. Green Bay, I think Joe Barry might have saved his job, and I'm not sure if that's good. And now defensively, this is another team that hung a goose egg in the sack column, but they did have 2 interceptions, both by Dre Greenlaw, and one of them obviously ended the game. You know, I really do feel bad for Green Bay once again losing to San Francisco in the playoffs, but if it helps you guys feel any better, it won't be the last time we talk about a father kicking their son's ass today. Now moving on, we got the Bucs at the Lions, and this was a fantastic game for majority of it, and then it got blown wide open at the end. I think the Lions actually might go to the Super Bowl. Anyway, looking at Tampa Bay first, Baker went 26 for 41, 349 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Man, I told you this guy was just gonna sling it. Rushing was led by Rachaad White, who had 9 carries for 55 yards, and receiving was dominated by Mike Evans, who had 8 catches for 147 yards and a touchdown. However, he again had like 2 or 3 passes this game that he just blatantly dropped. I don't understand. Anyway, if we look past Mike Evans, Kate Otten had a tremendous game, 5 for 65 and a touchdown. He was burning people all day. Godwin was 4 for 40. Rachaad White was 4 for 36 and a score. Trey Palmer made an elite catch on the sideline. And defensively, they weren't able to pick the goofball off, but they were able to sack him twice, where one of them would come from 33-year-old Levante David, who also had himself a 9-tackle game. Here's my personal take on the Bucs. If they let Baker Mayfield walk without even trying to give him some sort of deal, they're stupid. And I'm stupid for doubting him. He wasn't perfect, but he played good this year. Now looking at the Lions, the goofball, 30 for 43, 287, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown, where one of them was like a 30-yard rush at the end of the game. I don't know why he wasn't running it more earlier. Craig Reynolds also had a 1-yard touchdown. The receiving was led by Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had 8 for 77 and a touchdown. Laporta, who had 9 for 65. Gibbs, who had 4 for 40. And then Josh Reynolds, who had 2 for 27 and another tud. You know, they actually had pretty similar offenses this game. Detroit ran the ball more, but everyone was pretty evenly distributed on both offenses. Now, if you look at Detroit defensively, I think this is where the game was decided. It was the takeaways. I mean, yeah, you got guys like Hutchinson constantly throwing pressure at you, or Brian Branch, who had a huge game, but being able to get the ball back, and even if you do or don't score, just being able to kill the clock while you're ahead is an advantage that any winner would kill to have. The secondary still is not perfect for Detroit. They got scorched, but they made every play they needed to make, and this team is going to the NFC Championship, deservingly so. Go get it, Detroit. And finally, we are at the Chiefs, once again, beating the Bills in the playoffs. I don't know where to start on this one. We had it. We had everything going our way. We even had Mecole Hardman fumble a ball out of the end zone. But KC's defense clutched up and our offense stalled. I mean, it's right there on the box score. 4th quarter, we stalled. We couldn't do that. Now, certain things could have prevented this, whether Tyler Bass made his kick, whether Stephon Diggs caught the 60-yard pass that hit him right in the hands. Maybe Josh could have extended a drive by not going for a home run and hitting Diggs when he was open there at the end. Regardless, it's over and we lost again. You know, before I even get into actually talking about this game, I gotta say one more thing. I don't want to hear Diggs bitch one fucking time this offseason. Dude, you had a chance to make a difference and you didn't do it. You didn't see Josh getting in your face on the sideline going like this, did ya? It's frustrating. Anyway, KC, Patrick Mahomes was nearly perfect, 17 for 23, 215, 2 touchdowns, where both of them were to Travis Kelce, who made the big difference in the game. We didn't have the linebackers to cover him. They exposed the shit out of it. Pacheco also punished the ground for 97 yards, good runner, had a touchdown. And defensively, even though they weren't able to sack playoff Josh once or pick him off, they clamped down at the end, they shut our offense down, and when it mattered most, their kicker clutched up and made every single kick he was given. Kansas City, good luck to you going forward, and I'm sorry if I sound disgusted, but I hope you understand I'm so fucking sick and tired of saying that to you guys. Anyway, looking at the Bills now, Josh, 26 for 39, 186, 1 touchdown, also had 2 rushing touchdowns and 72 rushing yards. James Cook ran the ball right down their throat for the start of the game, but yeah, they shut him down at the end. He wasn't able to do much. Receiving was led by Dalton Kincaid, who had 5 for 45, and then Khalil Shakir, who had 7 for 44 and a score. I just gotta say right away, I'm okay with dumping Gabe Davis and rolling with him. I think Shakir is fantastic. He's made like 10 elite catches in the last 2 weeks. And then looking at our defense outside of tackles, we didn't do anything. We didn't get to sack Mahomes once. We didn't get to pick him off once. Like I said, this is playoff football. Quarterbacks have eyes in the back of their head. You know, you can't do anything about it when you're playing against the best. And now I know, obviously, a lot of the Bills Mafia is irate with Tyler Bass. He could have came up with that kick at the end that would have tied the game and probably sent us to OT, and he missed it. And I just want to say right now, hop off. It sucks, but it happens. This guy has won us 10 times the amount of games that he has lost us. Put yourself in his shoes, because I will guarantee you, you will not even come close to making it. And lastly here about the Bills, I got 2 more things to say. 1, shut the fuck up if you're saying anything bad about Sean McDermott. Do you know, and this is not an excuse by the way, but do you know how many players are hurt right now? How many people are missing? He did the best he could. We wouldn't be here without him. And secondly, now this might be me yelling at Sean McDermott, but the DeMar Hamlin fake punt play, dude, don't ever do something so stupid like that again. I almost puked. But as always, unfortunately, Mafia dismount, and I guess we'll try next year where Josh's cap hit is $46 million. All right, well, that's all I got, guys. I'm gonna go back to being sad now. So if you guys enjoyed this video, you already know what to do to show support. Comment, like, subscribe, turn that bell on. I try to post every single day. And with everything I just said, well, I'll see you in the next video.